Welcome to the Jaron Studio YouTube channel, where we encourage boldness, creativity, and awareness of the voice. So I want to talk a little candid today about something that happened to me a little while ago. This is going to be a video about my experience getting scoped. So I know some of you are wondering, what exactly is a scope? What do you mean getting scoped? So a scope is basically a short term or another term for a stroboscopy of the voice. And a stroboscopy is basically a flashing camera that'll see something in vibration or in motion in real time. So since your vocal folds vibrate, a stroboscopy is made of the voice, so you see your voice in real time. There's usually two main ways people can look at your voice. There's a flexible rod and there's a rigid rod. This story has to do with the flexible rod. That rigid rod I couldn't do. So we'll talk about this in a minute, okay? I remember singing a song at a church service one particular Sunday night, and the song was, I've got a reason to praise the Lord. Y'all know that song? So anyway, so I was singing that song, singing the lead for that song as a special guest for this concert. And you know, gospel can be hard on the voice. And so that particular day I had to do a lot of singing that weekend. So I came that Sunday to that church and I started singing this song. And so the song went good. It went fine, but I got a little happy and I really pushed my voice to its limit. And I kind of squalled and growled and all those types of things that can wear and tear on the voice if done wrongly or overdone, you know? So that happened, and the next day I woke up and my voice was kind of weird. It wasn't gone, but it wasn't there. You know, I had like my the low chest voice. Upper chest voice is kind of there, but no head voice at all. No head voice. It was crazy. No head voice. So the summer wore on, and I continued to sing a little bit, and I shouldn't have been singing, number one, but I did. So I continued singing and everything, and I remember one of my friends, who's actually a speech language pathologist right now, she told me, it sounds like you have something on your voice. And immediately, I got super nervous. I try to play it off like, no, it's just, phlegm. But phlegm and vocal issue sounds completely different. There is a difference between phlegm and vocal issues. So if you got phlegm, you clear your throat up in 2 seconds, you're fine. But if you have vocal issues, it's a totally different distortion that you have on your voice that has a distinct sound to it. So days passed, weeks passed, nothing changed. My chest voice was fine at that point. After a couple weeks, my chest voice came back fine. But my head voice, I literally had no head voice. It would sound super raspy and be really hard to sing up there. So I couldn't sing soft. Either I sung full chest or I didn't sing at all. I kind of mouthed the words. And as a male soprano, I need my head voice falsetto stuff because that's how I do what I do. So not being able to do what I need to be doing, it was a big problem. I've never had this problem before. It was a big problem. So after I had that moment, I literally stopped singing for 4 months. I did sing on the praise team. I didn't do much singing outside, in gigging and things like that. I really took 3 to 4 months off on my own, no doctor's orders. I just wanted to take some time off to see if my voice would rest itself back to health. So we'll see. So after about 3 or 4 months, my voice really started to come back to normal, but my head voice still didn't come back. I was really concerned. I'm like, okay, my head voice isn't here. And usually I can sing head voice in my sleep. There's something going on. My falsetto's gone. I can sing falsetto in my sleep. There's something going on. But I was nervous at this point because I've never had a vocal issue. Look, I'm a voice teacher, but before this day that I'm going to talk about, I have never been scoped. I was never have vocal issues. I always had my voice here for the most part. I knew how to take care of my voice, so my voice never left. So having the potential of vocal damage was super daunting and super worrisome for me. I was tripping. So the academic year came, and for some reason I had 5 opportunities to get scoped, seriously. A friend of mine who was an SLP also, she was finishing her master's project. She needed people to get scoped. Somebody else was grabbing a group of singers together to get scoped for something. So I was invited to that. So I remember getting scoped there, and I was deathly nervous. Now I have a really sensitive gag reflex. So this scoping tool was the rigid one. So it's probably about a foot long, and the camera's on one end. It's like a cylinder, and they just slide it on the blade of your tongue back. I have such a gag reflex. I felt so bad because the last time she tried to put me on her throat, I grabbed her hand. I was so embarrassed. And I was the only one who couldn't get scoped, and I was the one she wanted to get scoped the most because I had such a unique voice. She wanted to see my voice in action, but I was so scared. Number one, gag reflex, no thank you. Number two, I didn't want anybody to tell me, oh my God, someone your voice, and you're gonna get surgery, you're gonna be like, oh my God, you're not gonna have your voice again. I didn't want to hear that. So I just no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So that day came and went. I went home, and I really contemplated going to get my own self scoped on my own merit. I would make appointments and then cancel them. make appointments and then cancel them. I'll make appointments and then find something else to do and cancel. I just was so scared to go to figure out if something was wrong. Like, I'm hoping they say nothing's wrong, you're fine. But what if they say like, oh, you have a nodule, oh, you have a node, or, you know, you have just something that would creep me out, you know, so much. And I was scared, honestly, from reputation as a voice teacher, because I'm like, how am I gonna tell people to sing and I got something on my voice? But I'm telling them to sing this way, telling them to speak this way, but I can't get my own voice together. Like, how does that look? You know, and that's what I thought. It's not the truth, but that's what I thought. So months passed, and so I ended up connecting with another SLP in the same state, different city, same state. We ended up connecting because I was trying to do some research and find some things for myself about the field of speech language pathology. And so we ended up connecting, and he invited me down to his clinic. So I said, okay, cool. So I'll come down. I had my little dress clothes on. I went down, you know, and I just sat like a quiet mouse in the corner taking notes and, you know, letting him explain to me what's going on. And it was very interesting to see people's voices with issues on it. You know, I felt bad for them, but at the same time, it was kind of cool. So like I said, I came down to observe him, okay? So we're sitting there, and I'm through the whole day, and so his last appointment happened to cancel that day, and so he said to be there for something like later on that day or something like that. So he was like, hey, do you want to get scoped? So I was like, how do I get out of this? Do I say yes? Do I say no? Is this free? Because I don't got the money to pay right now. Is this free? What happens if you find something? Oh my God. And all these times I kept trying to get scoped, and I would kept, you know, canceling the appointments because I was so scared. And other thoughts that ran in my head was, what if something is wrong? What if I need surgery? What if my voice changes? What if it never comes back to what it's supposed to be? What if it mess up and I don't sing at all ever again? You know, unfortunately, there are stories of people who have had these surgeries and don't come out singing again, or don't come out with the same voice, and I just didn't want that to happen to me. I was definitely afraid of that thing happening to me. I mean, my voice is my bread and butter. So if my voice is gone, I can't make no money. I have 2 degrees in voice. I banked my whole life on my voice. So if my voice is gone, I can't make any money. I can't live. That's creeped me out so much. And I'm like, but it's a free opportunity to get scoped, because I wasn't paying for it. I was like, free opportunity to get scoped. Maybe I should just do it. So I said, okay. Now I'm saying okay, trying to be cool, but in my body, I am shaking. I am shook. I'm shook because I'm nervous. This is my first getting scoped, and I'm gonna let him do it. So I got in a chair, put my arms up on the thing. So he sprayed the numbing spray up my nose. He said, swallow, swallow. And I swallowed, so I felt the numbing happen in my nostrils, you know. So I sit, and he tells me to look up a little bit. So I look up just a little bit, and so I see him getting the little camera out. Now this time it's a flexible rod. It's a flexible camera, so it goes in the nose, and it's probably the diameter of the end of a pen, like the end of a ink pen, you know. So it's really narrow, so it's you can hardly feel it. So anyway, so I'm up like this, and I could feel it going down. Like, it didn't hurt, but I could still feel it. So I feel it going down. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting scoped right now. Oh my God, I'm getting scoped right now. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm talking, and he's talking and whatever, and we're in conversation. So he finally gets down, and he said, just swallow a little bit. So I swallow, and then he sees my voice. For the first time in my life, I had physically saw my vocal folds. I was looking at the thing like, oh my God, those are it. That's my voice. I've always wanted my voice to look like. And I know it doesn't look any different than anybody else's voice, but in my brain it did. You know, in my brain I said, it has to look different. My voice is so unique, it has to look different. Meanwhile, I am still having trouble with my head voice. Let's not forget that. My head voice is still going, okay? So I'm really nervous he's gonna say like, oh, you actually have a nice little polyp right here on your left vocal fold or something. I'm thinking he's gonna say something like this. I said, oh Jesus, please don't say nothing like that to me today. I did not sign up for this, you know, so. And honestly, I think he had his own personal agenda because he knew I had a high voice, you know, so he really wanted to see how my vocal folds looked. I remember going through grad school and trying to get tests done and kind of get the EGG of my throat. And I remember it was so hard for my teacher, my professor to get because my larynx is so high in my body. And so for him to get the larynx and get the things on it, it took it forever. I don't think he really got it, you know, because my larynx is so high. I had to like hold him up and stuff like that. So I remember my professor saying, you are like a cool experiment. So I feel like my SLP friend here had a personal agenda, which is fine. I don't care. It's fine. So I actually want to show you guys the video of myself getting scoped. You can actually see my voice. Okay? I want you guys to see it. You guys ready?
I'm gonna take a look at the back of your nose right now. Oh, I'll look, take another look in a second. Good. Swallow for me. Good. Good. Perfect. Go Swallow once again. Good. Now touch your tongue. Yeah, I just did that.
Oh.
Let me switch my mic here. There we go. Good. Give yourself a little stroke there. Swallow. Go well. Good. Do it once again. A little more slowly. Good. Very interesting. Okay, sing me something. Just a phrase.
Gospel, classical?
Sure, whatever. You have two. Gospel.
Okay. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Good, stop. Okay, now sing it more classically.
That saved a wretch like me.
Good, stop. Go back. Sing the same thing like gospel.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Good, with falsetto. Now sing the soprano. I'm in falsetto and then go into chest. So,
Okay.
Start soprano again. Sorry, falsetto. Falsetto. Yeah, go into chest and then back into falsetto. Okay.
Wasn't that cool? That was so cool to me. I watched that thing like it's TV, and it's not. It's my vocal folds. It's probably nasty to some people, but whatever. I was so relieved that nothing was wrong with my voice. You literally have no idea how relieved I was that nothing was wrong with my voice. Because like I said, I was so scared. So to get scoped and for them to say, oh, you're good, nothing's really wrong. You have some inflammation back of your throat, but that's acid reflux, you'll be fine. Like, that was like music to my ears. That was like heaven coming down, like, oh. Like, I was so relieved that nothing was wrong with my voice other than some acid reflux. And honestly, the acid reflux could be the problem why my head wasn't going in the first place. So after that, he proceeded to tell me things like, your larynx is really high in your neck. It sits really high. It's almost behind your hyoid bone. And I was like, oh. And the hyoid bone basically is like the bone right under the tongue. So it's like your tongue, hyoid bone, basically. Okay, so my larynx is basically right behind-ish my hyoid bone, which is really high. Because you notice some guys who have lower voices, you can see their Adam's apple, which is their larynx. But their Adam's apple, you gotta see it, but you can't see mine. You can see mine. See? Can't see it. This is my favorite part that he said. He said, you have the vocal folds of a man, but the throat of a woman. Can you believe that? Though it makes sense, I wasn't expecting him to say that to me. But it makes sense. I sing soprano, chest voice at church. Choirs I'm in, also all the time. Most men don't sing soprano full voice, and I'm not tooting my horn, I'm just saying that's what it is. So when he said that, I said, it kind of makes sense. And then immediately said, if my brothers were sitting here right now, they would be having a field day on my behalf. Insult and roast. Right and left, bacon, right and left. And I would have been like, whatever, y'all. Mad, just been mad. overall, my examination went really well. It doesn't hurt. It was super smooth. You know, once you spray the numbing spray up your nose, you're good. But seriously, it took almost a full year for my voice to recover. And I personally think I have slight polyps or something that healed over time because I rested. But I really think something was wrong because it just didn't sound normal. But it took almost a full year to fully recover, you know. But now I can sing head voice fine, and it's there. You know, it's having no problem with it anymore. Falsetto, it's there. Having no problem with that anymore either. So I'm really glad I got scoped, and I'm glad I was made aware of my acid reflux in that way. I knew I had it, but being made aware that it tampered with my voice was a good thing to hear in terms of me changing my regimen. So I've modified, you know, I personally don't do dairy anymore, any milk. And honestly, that's the only thing I changed. I still like Chick-fil-A. I still like, you know, ranch dressing. But because I don't drink dairy anymore, my voice actually got a lot better, you know. So I don't know if that's what changed it or not, but, you know, but once I took milk out of my diet, my voice came back. I highly recommend getting scoped. Everybody uses their voice as a profession, whether you're a preacher, singer, worship leader, actor, motivational speaker. Somebody uses their voice as a profession to make money or to just do what they do. Get scoped. It's such a good idea. It's a good idea because you can get your voice scoped now when nothing's wrong and get a good picture of it. So then if you feel like something's wrong, the doctors have something to compare it to. Now, I was super lucky and blessed to not have anything be wrong with my vocal folds for real, but some people aren't that lucky. It's truly better to go now while it's not a huge problem versus waiting and waiting and waiting and let your voice get more and more damaged to where the problem could either be irreversible or hard to reverse. So remember this rule of thumb. If within 10 days your voice has not fully come back and fully recovered, it may be a good idea to get scoped. So let me ask you all, have you ever been scoped? Are you thinking about it? Comment below your experiences, or if you're thinking about it, any question that you have. And let's talk about it. Before you go, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Click the alert button next to it so you know when the next video is posted. As I always say, be vocally bold, be vocally creative, and be vocally aware. But most of all, be vocally you. All right, y'all. Until next time.